Hey, welcome back to Ask and Evolve with Erica. This video series is all about me taking your questions and meeting you where you are and opening up a conversation about it. As a nutritional therapy practitioner, I do get a lot of questions, not just from clients, but other people that I connect with in my life, because wellness and health is a very large, very vast topic, and there's always some hot topics going on right now, and it can be really overwhelming. So my goal is to help you reduce the overwhelm and learn a little bit more so that you can make better and more informed decisions for your body in the best way that you can. So right now, I'm going to be talking about supplements today. I got a specific question about supplements, and I decided to kind of open it up to a more general conversation. But the question was regarding supplements versus over-the-counter medication. And this person wanted to know, what is the difference between taking turmeric or omega-3s or fish oil to support reducing inflammation in the body versus taking an over-the-counter medication like an ibuprofen or something like that? And I wanted to open this up to a general conversation about supplements as well. So we will address that specifically, but first I want to talk about supplements in general, because I think sometimes we hear that certain supplements can be good and we just want to add them in because we want to take things that are good for our body. I want to take a probiotic. I want to take a vitamin D or an omega-3 or whatever these things are. And the thing is, your body is so unique, and it's so common for us to think that we all need certain things. But the truth is, our body has different needs, and we have to be really attuned to that. So when it comes to supplements in general, there are two camps. There are people who maybe take all the supplements, and there are people who take none of the supplements and think they're bogus, right? Some of them are, depends on the quality. But when we think about this and why supplements can be really helpful, what I want us to understand is in terms of our body creating balance, our body really requires tools to do that. And it relies on us to provide those tools in order for it to fulfill its processes and create balance in the best way it knows how. Oftentimes, our body doesn't get tools in the way it needs. And when there are these gaps over time, your body begins to compromise in its decision-making process. And that's usually when we get some signals or symptoms from our body that something's off. So food first is always going to be the approach that I use, and most people should use when we're looking to create balance in the body. But sometimes food alone isn't enough. And that really comes down to a few reasons. One, if the body has been compromising its decision-making process for a long time, because maybe it has been deficient in certain nutrients for a while, we might need some extra nutrients or some extra support to help the body get back into balance. So that's reason number one. But reason number two, our world has really changed since we industrialized the food making process. And unfortunately, because of over-farming and a lot of other reasons, the nutrient density in our soil has changed so much that the nutrient density in our food has transformed as well. And that often means that we're not getting the level of nutrients that we need from the food we're eating, even if we're eating all of the right things. On top of that, we need to look at digestion, because maybe that's another reason why we're not absorbing the things we need. But that's a conversation for another day. So that's a major thing when it comes to supplements is, why we might be looking for those sorts of things. The other thing that I want to mention about this is a supplement or an herbal supplement. What's the difference between that and just an over-the-counter medication? A supplement is usually nutrient dense, or it's a blend of certain nutrients that your body might need. And the truth is, what really happens here is when we take a supplement, this herb or this nutrient or whatever this item is that's uniquely best for you and what your needs are, what it's doing is it's giving your body the resources and tools that your body needs in order to create balance on its own. So it is something external, but your body is able to use it in a way that it knows best. When it comes to an over-the-counter medication or something like a pharmaceutical drug, the difference there is oftentimes this is something external that is interfering or adding on to the communication in between our bodies. So it might be shutting off certain signals. It might be increasing certain signals. So it might not always be working in balance with our physiology, if that makes sense. And to add this into the conversation, we can talk very quickly about specifically to this question about turmeric, omega-3s, or fish oil versus an over-the-counter medication. So the difference here, when we think about an over-the-counter, like an ibuprofen or an Advil, a Aleve, something like that, it's very common for us to think that if I'm feeling pain or I'm experiencing pain, I take this over-the-counter medication, and we usually think, right, that what happens is I am shutting off that signal, that pain signal from my body. That's what I'm doing when I take this medication. That's not what's happening. Truthfully, what is happening during this time when you take a pill like that, an ibuprofen or something to that effect, what it's really doing is we've linked this idea that inflammation can cause pain in the body. It does. But inflammation can also be good. It means healing. And we can get into inflammation another time as well. But when you think about ibuprofen in general, what's happening when you take these kinds of medications is it's not shutting off a signal. What it's truly doing is it's shutting off your body's ability to produce the prostaglandins, or these items in our body that create inflammation, but also create anti-inflammation. So you're creating a halt, a stop on all of your body's inflammatory and anti-inflammatory process. It can be good in the short term if we really need it. I'm not saying that these types of things aren't necessary in certain circumstances, but if we're shutting off our body's ability to inflame and anti-inflame, we're causing some communication issues, especially if we rely on this long term or we use it really frequently, especially if somebody's experiencing some chronic inflammation. So the difference is if you take turmeric or some omega-3s regularly, what that does is it supports your body's natural ability to anti-inflame. So instead of shutting off the communication completely, you are supporting your body's ability to know what it does best and create that process and maybe support that process a little bit more. I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any other specific questions relating supplements or talking about this idea of ibuprofen versus turmeric and what that looks like, please leave a comment. I would love to connect with you and maybe dive a little deeper into another question for you. Talk soon.